be present at future debates.
Tonight, we will be looking at 5 themes, that is youth unemployment and jobs. 2 is security, governance and justice. 3, technology and the future of work. 4, infrastructure development and the health sector. And 5, finance and economic development.
And as the word presidential debate does say it, each candidate has 4 minutes for your introduction. Each candidate has 4 minutes and 30 seconds allowed to close your submission to every address under every theme that we're going to be discussing tonight. And 1 minute will be awarded to you, and maybe 45 seconds to give your closing remarks when the night is done and dusted. There will be a 7-minute commercial break after the second theme, and these themes were all selected based on months and months of public engagement. Thousands of Ugandans having submitted their priorities and questions. This is through the community forums, digital platforms, and of course the regional outreach. However, the final selections, the structure, and the sequencing for tonight were made independently of the debate team. So as per the debate rules, neither the candidate that you see on the podium this evening nor anyone on the team have reviewed or influenced these questions.
Without any further ado, let us begin. And this is going to be very brief. In 4 minutes, tell Ugandans why you're the best candidate and to take this big job of being the president, not just having the fancy office. While you're at it, also tell Ugandans what the biggest problem is with the country. Let me start with you, Mr. Bulira. 4 minutes.
Thank you so much. Dear Ugandans, my name is Bulira Frank Kabinga Salongo. I'm the presidential flag bearer for the Revolutionary People's Party, a party which I'm here in the footsteps of the late fighter Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi, in the footsteps of our forefathers who fought for federalism, the Nkwangas, the Andrew Takome Kairas, the Dr. Paul Kawanga Semwogereres, the retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besiges. I'm in this race not just to contest ceremoniously. I'm here to contest and deliver our opposition to State House. It has been a process of over 4 decades, and I think this coming election is going to close up each and everything. This is the time that we need to shape our country. There are only 2 big problems of our country, Uganda. Number 1 problem is Mr. Museveni. The second problem is the system of governance. That is why, as the Revolutionary People's Party, we are looking at federalism. Federalism is the way to go, and it is our core. The RPP, we believe that even if Mr. Museveni goes and we have another president and we don't change the system of governance, we shall remain in the same problems. In my first 100 days, that's why I pledge that Uganda is going to go federalist. Bulira Frank Kabinga, I was groomed by the Uganda Young Democrats. I started my politics in Kasubi Church of Uganda Primary School way back during the CA times. I joined Uganda Young Democrats in the second generation after the Dr. Rurume's first generation of UID, the Mabikes. I was part of the second generation, and I was the spokesperson of the Uganda Young Democrats under the leadership of Susan Abo by then. Then I was the students' leader for Uganda Young Democrats until I joined Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi. I joined Dr. Kiyingi purposely because I wanted to remove Mr. Museveni, period. I didn't want to overstay in the opposition. You all much well know that Dr. Aggrey Kiyingi was standing in the true path of changing this country. In fact, if Dr. Kiyingi or Dr. Besigye had been in this race, I wouldn't have contested, because they are the only 2 people who had solutions to changing this government. who were focused on removing Mr. Museveni and with realistic solutions. We have done enough politicking, and it is now time to remove Mr. Museveni. That is why I also argue my fellow candidates, fellow contestants, if they are really genuinely looking at removing Mr. Museveni first, to join me, and we remove Mr. Museveni. We shall sort other issues regarding parties and our aspirations after removing Mr. Museveni after 15th January. So I'm here, dear Ugandans, presenting myself as your next president come 2026. My campaign was derailed. As you know, Dr. Kiyingi, he was living miles away from Uganda, but he was the most feared man. Mr. Museveni feared Dr. Kiyingi more than opposition leaders sleeping in Kampala and Wakiso. You know that.
It's a debate, Mr. Frank Bulira. Your time is up, 4 minutes. But since you want to remove Mr. Museveni, then I ask that you move from your seat and come sit next to these two gentlemen, in between these two gentlemen who have also rightly said that they're doing the same thing. Please stand up and come and sit in between the general and the one who's promising a new Uganda.
Though I'm number one,
It is okay. We shall decide on 15th. Thank you very much. Each candidate being reminded you have 4 minutes for your introduction. And now we move to the second candidate, Candidate Joseph Mabirizi.
Good evening once again. My name is Elton Joseph Mabirizi Salongo from Conservative Party, the party which has outlived generations. In CP, we have the uniqueness that we stand for. Number one, it's about the governance, which requires fabrication to come up with something new which can fit in the generation we live in. We stand for regional governments, and when we talk about regional governments, many people will ask, what do you mean exactly? We have 16 regions of Uganda, and those 16 regions must have small governments where they share power with the central government. Uganda is like a sinking boat in an ocean. Without coming up with regional governments, we would have done nothing, even if we elect any other leader. So regional governments, this is where power is shared, resources, responsibilities are shared with the central government. And when you come up with such a government, you would have dealt away with so many problems of Uganda that we are facing today. For example, the problem we are facing where all authority belongs to one person, where security is just in central government, where taxes are collected and just go into a small group of people to govern that. So there is a great need to institute a regional government to ease service delivery, at the same time creating a lot of jobs, which is a problem that we are facing today, but also working on the system of education that we are having in Uganda, which does not help parents, it doesn't help the graduates, the learners, it doesn't help even the government. The first beneficiary of the citizens or the graduates, it is the government. But when they finish, you find that there are no jobs, which has created a lot of dependence. People who are working are very few, and many depend on others. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, sir. On to you, Mr. Mafabi.
My name is Nathan Nandala Mafabi. I came in this election. I come from Forum for Democratic Change. Our theme is fixing the economy and the money in our pockets. The current problem in Uganda is three-phased: corruption, that is greed, poverty, injustice. I have walked in the whole country. You discover poor mothers, poor fathers, who are selling tomatoes, oranges. They cannot even make enough to feed their families. Our children go to school. Out of 10 children who join primary school, only 2 reach P7. That means there's 80% dropout. You go to the health center, they will refer you, go out for medical attention, go and buy medicine, go for a scan, and those are the main things which bring us in this election. But what's the problem? We have been around for 40 years. We have been talking about peace, 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 and I don't think Ugandans can now eat peace because the peace is there. What we need is people to have jobs, and when they have jobs, they will earn a living. We look forward to investing in agriculture. We look forward to investing in education. We look forward to investing in health sector. We look forward to investing in infrastructure. I come with experience because I have studied all those. I come with experience in economy, in accounting, in taxation, in knowing poverty, how it's painful. I have worked. I'm fortunate you mentioned that only, maybe you are, but I was in Ministry of Finance. I worked for World Bank, and we have advised many governments, and I've come out of poverty. So I am coming here with experience to help Uganda to move forward. I come as an employee. I want to be a servant, to serve you with all my energy to ensure that people of Uganda can have the 3 meals which are designated in our lives. I am aware that we are 8 candidates, but each of us has his own manifesto. Our manifesto is very clear, it's spelling out what is supposed to be done. We want to create jobs. 60% of the youth are unemployed. 84 people live on 14 people. This is the danger, and this is the biggest insecurity we are having in our country. You get people are walking on the street from morning to evening, looking for what to do, what to eat, and this is causing a lot of problems in our country. In fact, the next time bomb is from the unemployment of the youth. Currently, our economy is structured in such a way that the service sector, which is contributing about 50%, is externalized. That's the telecom, that is the financial sector, and even the industrial part is belonging to the foreigners. Local Ugandans themselves, who live on an agrarian economy, which contributes almost 80% of our livelihood, are only having a 23.8 GDP contribution, meaning that our people are living as slaves in their country. This is what we need to resolve, and it's urgent, and it needs somebody with experience in that area. In my life, I have been in Parliament for 25 years. I have been there advocating for justice. I've been advocating for, because there's a lot of social injustice. I have been advocating for this issue to do with poverty alleviations. Every election, we see a different theme that they are doing. In 1996, they brought in Tandikwa. In 2001, they brought Kulembeka. In 2006, they brought Bondaba Gagaure. In 2011, they brought Prosperity for All. In 2016, they brought Emioga. In 2021, they brought Operation World Question. Now, 2026 PDM. If these were really aiming to remove poverty, and they have not done, it means there's total failure in the government. Our government lacks transparency in management, and the corruption is at the theme.
Thank you for your submission, sir. Let's move on to candidate Robert Juggling.
Thank you very much, dear distinguished moderators, honorable colleagues with whom I'm running for the noble responsibility of leading our nation, ladies and gentlemen present here, and those watching us from afar. I am humbled to be here contesting to lead our country, and it's great pleasure and honor to be representing the common people of our country. As a person who comes from the ghetto and rose to represent the nation at the highest level, I cannot take any further pride than that. But also, I am aware that we are in a nation that is at crossroads. We had independence 63 years ago, and 40 of those years have been covered by one man who has reduced our country to a failed state. Absolutely, it is clear to all and sundry that this nation, which is primarily young, has clearly made a decision, only that they have been stifled. I am aware that I will be taking over a nation where 1.5 babies are born every year, taking over a nation where almost half of the budget goes to servicing debts. I'm aware that I'm taking over a nation that is deeply divided, but committed and ready to unite our country, which we've already started doing. What we promise is a new Uganda which is going to reset. Our country has completely been messed, and it needs to start afresh. Every institution has been captured, and we intend to start again in a new Uganda where people are going to be servants, where citizens of Uganda should take over power to decide the destiny of their lives. As we stand right now, the people of Uganda don't have a vote, they don't have a voice, and they don't have power over their nation. The state has been captured completely, and we hope to liberate not just the citizens, but also those that are leading the country. On a downside, I had really hoped to meet General Museveni here, so I could publicly face him and hear what more lies he has to tell us after 40 years. To hear from him straight the gains he's protecting. Is he protecting the potholes? Is he protecting the rotten hospitals? Is he protecting the broken down schools, the broken down infrastructure? Is he protecting his power and right to torture citizens? I had always wanted to hear that, not privately, but publicly from General Museveni. Anyway, it's all right that he's not here because he's in the past and we are discussing the future of our country. So I'm very glad and I hope to share ideas and to teach and learn from our colleagues. But of course, I must assert it that the people of Uganda, especially the young generation, the new generation that I largely represent, is committed to changing their country and to taking back the right to determine their destiny. I am ready and committed to lead the charge to change Uganda, so help us the Almighty God.
Thank you.
And the final candidate for the evening, with your introduction and why Uganda should believe in your cause.
Thank you, dear moderators. Let me take this opportunity again to thank all Ugandan citizens who are seated in this room and those who are watching us. I'm called Gregory Mujisha Muntu Oyera. I hold the flag for Alliance for National Transformation, whose mantra is values-driven leadership. We entered this race very well knowing the state of our country. For 63 years we've been in a vicious cycle. John Museveni being the 9th president, regime after regime, promises are made, promises are... What makes them drunk to a point where they lose direction, they don't fulfill promises, they trample on citizens, and unfortunately at this point in time we have not even had the experience where one leader hands over power to another. That's sad. Some of us had hoped that we would see the breaking out of that vicious cycle. Where we are heading, we are not so sure whether that will be or not. We keep on struggling. We hope that we'll see that at some point. We've been moving around the country now for about 2 months. The state of our people is quite frightening. Joblessness, the levels of joblessness of the youth, the depth of poverty that you read on the faces of the people, and even what they express. The lack of drugs in hospitals, government hospitals, and very well knowing that there are those who can't afford to go to private hospitals, which means they can't afford the bills, which means that most people just go home to die. That's been going on for quite a while. In the area of joblessness, even the few jobs which are viable, not only at the national level, but even at the local government level, because I've so far gone through 74 districts. And I made it a point to ask everywhere we go whether there are transparent systems of young people getting jobs. And the response has been uniform throughout. I've not been to any district where I've got a response that you can do an interview, and when you succeed or you are the best, that you can get a job, unless you know someone, unless you pay a bribe. That's quite frightening, that government jobs can be sold. So the people out there who still believe that General Museveni should continue, I've been urging them on the campaign trail that considering that state of affairs and the frightening levels of corruption in this country, we lose 10 trillion Uganda shillings. That's about 2.7 billion United States dollars every year, that they should reconsider. General Museveni should just simply be retired peacefully on 15th of January. And I've been urging them to look amongst the 7 of us and select one who can lead this country from the vicious circle in which it is, the mess at which we are, also considering the frightening levels of debt, that they look for a capable person. And I always project myself.
All right.
Because of...
Thank you so much, Mugisha Muntu. 5 candidates. We do also have 5 themes for the presidential debate. Please be reminded we are streaming across our social media platforms on Facebook as well as X as well as TikTok. So share the link with the rest of Uganda. Equally on our website www.ntv.co.ug, we are having the presidential debate live on NTV as well as Spark TV. As we start up, theme number 1, youth unemployment and the jobs, or the economic reset. I'm going to start with candidate Frank Wulira. Just to shape the narrative, candidate, Uganda has a very young population, as according to the UBO statistics from the population census having been conducted in 2024, more than 73% of citizens being under the age of 30, including about 14 million people aged between 15 and 30, marking about 31%. And then you look at the latest labor data also showing us that only about 37% 11.7% of these young people are actually employed and working. About 16% of them are choosing or are able to stay in school, and roughly 40 to 42% are neither in employment. We cannot trust them in education, neither can we pin them in training. Youth unemployment is standing currently at 16.3% compared to the 11.7% overall. When we look to the female perspective, there the youth unemployment is also closely higher at 20%. The figures do go on, but each year about 700,000 people do enter the labor market, but only about 34% of that figure is actually absorbed in jobs. Candidate Frank Bulira, given these realities, what concrete measures beyond the national employment strategy, beyond the national development plan 4 that we're currently running as a country, will you implement in your first 3 years? 1, to raise job absorption well above 34%. 2, cut the youth NEET rate by at least 10%. And then 3, to ensure that the additional jobs being created are decent, they are formal, and are creating opportunities rather than incurring a lot of pressure on the informal sector.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, surely poverty is everywhere, but our case as Uganda is so worrying. Just as I said, we can speak a lot, but the biggest problem of Uganda is Mr. Museveni and the system of governance. Those are the two biggest problems, bringing about youth unemployment, growing at the fastest rate, and people losing hope in their country and in the future. As the Revolutionary People's Party, under the new federal arrangement, remember, after 15th January next year, in the next 2 weeks, Uganda will be announced as the new Federal Democratic Republic, governed under the 16 federal states, taking charge of their wealth. The Revolutionary People's Party is going to take the jobs closer to the people, where they stay. Gone are the days when everyone has to come to Kampala looking for jobs. People going to kneel before Mr. Museveni to get survival, including ministers, public servants. You have to meet Mr. Museveni in order to survive, in order for your child to be given a bursary. The federal arrangement is going to take back the jobs in the areas, the 16 proposed federal states making up Uganda. First of all, we are going to introduce the Federal Economic Empowerment Program. The Federal Economic Empowerment Program is going to replace these failed Bonabagagawales, parish development models, which are just enriching NRM cadres and RDCs, swindling taxpayers' money, the Operation Welfare Creations, just helping soldiers to build more mansions and build arcades. They are all going to be scrapped, and the Federal Economic Empowerment Program is going to look at the Ugandans in Sebei are going to be placed in the cement factories, where you even have truck drivers who are Chinese in Kaserem, in Kapchora.
Mr. Bulira, can you name one country that's operating a federal system?
UAE, Germany.
Which ones of those are just under 63 years?
God said about UAE and its background. There was a time when Uganda was far ahead of UAE. You remember that one time Idi Amin Dada gave food aid to UAE when the current president was the father of the current Sheikh Al Maktoum. He gave UAE food aid, plus the little soil UAE has. It was taken from here and mixed with the sand. UAE, every tree in UAE and grass has to be irrigated in order to live for a day.
I worry,
but
Mr.
it is the capital city of the world right now. Uganda would be so far better if we had gone federal.
I worry you might not know that much about federalism, because the best example,
according to you,
the United States of America, which is operating on a federal system. From the federal system, you go down to the state system. Then from the state system, you go down to municipals. So I worry that you want to implement something that you're not very savvy with.
That is according to you.
No, this is the biggest economy in the world. So if you're to give an example, at least let's go with one that has...
I give the example of UAE because it's the country I know most. The king of Dubai is my good friend Sheikh Al Maktoum, and the president of UAE, Sheikh Nayan. So it is a live example. My second home is in UAE. I've admired a lot from UAE under their arrangement, whereby you don't need to go to Sharjah when you are in Abu Dhabi to get a service. Everything is in a different is well catered for in a particular federal state or province. Provinces are competing. When Abu Dhabi builds a big skyscraper, Dubai will bring Burj Khalifa. When Al Alain does this, you know, in the end, the country ends up developing. In Nigeria, you don't need to go to, if you are in Lagos, you are contented. You don't need to go to Abuja. You don't need to go to Kumasi. So,
Kumasi is in Ghana, but thank you. You have run out of time. Thank you, Mr. Bulira. As you can imagine, it is going to be a very heated conversation, and if I do jump in, my credentials might permit me to do that. On to the next candidate. Let's look at Mr. Joseph Mavidizi. Quick question, Mr. Mavidizi. Are you familiar with the Malabo Declaration? Could you kindly switch on your mic? Are you familiar with the Malabo Declaration?
So many declarations has been done.
That is a yes or no question,
so
sir.
Which one do you mean exactly?
Malabo Declaration, Africa Union. Are you familiar with the Abuja Declaration?
Which one in particular? Because several of them, there are several which has been done.
I wouldn't want to eat into your time.
Are you talking about the climate one? Are you talking about which one are you talking about?
Okay, let's talk about agriculture. A declaration was made where 10% of revenues going through this fiscal plan when it comes to spending of any nation that is privy to the African Union spends 10% of their revenue on agriculture. As you can imagine, Uganda does not do that. That being said, what would you do in your first few months as president of Uganda to fix that?
We have a very big plan about agriculture infrastructure, where we want to encourage much of small-scale industry, where people can use simple machines in agriculture.
Like hoes?
When I talk about simple machines, I know even a hoe falls under that, but there are other machines which are not big tractors. Those ones which are operated just with small engines. Those ones which are operated manually. They just push them. So there are so many. So I'm not talking about only a hoe.
I'm very confused. Are we talking about combine harvesters? Are we talking John Deere? Are we talking, I'm very confused. Going back to plowing with oxen, which one is it? Give me something concrete.
They are tractors, but now I'm talking about the simple machines which use these simple engines, which are affordable. They don't consume a lot of fuel, and they are being used in Malaysia. So you can visit Malaysia, because for me that's where I saw them. So that's what I'm talking about, that once we trade that and bring it into our nation, we would have helped a lot in agriculture.
But you're addressing something different, because what this declaration say is to have 10% of your GDP.
I understand your question. Give me time to answer.
Please go ahead.
If you want me to answer your way, then it's something else.
Please proceed.
I have my way, and I can pass either way to answer you. So you want me to give the answer you have? Huh? I have my own answer. So, you know, I told the person who contacted me that let me hope you are taking me into a debate, not something like questioning you. Then you answer this, someone asks another question to take you off. So, what I was saying, there is a need to get that into that modernization agriculture, where we need to import simple machines to empower agriculture sector from the regions. And once you've empowered all the regions, having shared the power, responsibility, where the regions, they are also responsible for collecting taxes, and after collection of taxes, they only give 40% to the central government. Then 60% remains in the region. So the regional governments, they are responsible to institute and put into practice what fits their region according to agriculture. So it will be the responsibility of the regions sitting and deciding. Even what the declaration aimed at may be less. Each region will decide according to the need of that region. That's what we call shared power. It's not about only one person dictating that things should move in this direction or the other direction. That will be the responsibility of the regional governments.
Makes sense. Thank you.
All right, as we do go on, be reminded that our first theme of the night is youth unemployment and economic reset. This is where we'd like to turn to Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the one who has quite a large youth following. These are young boys and girls who need technical skills that are primarily scarce in our country right now. We look to training, we look to education, vocational education, and we also look to tertiary education that is still by and large weak. And also the digital economy is leaving so many people behind. From what you have seen in the many days you have been all over this country, if you were to become president, what immediate reforms will you use to drive an overhaul in TVET, and then also build real digital skills and ensure that the young person you have been meeting on this campaign trail is actually not locked out of the future?
I should have been the one who married Sebastian Klein. He only gave us $500,000 out of his trust fund when he's worth billions.
You mentioned that indeed we've been traveling all over the country. For me, this is more realistic than idealistic. These are not just statistics. These are realities. These are people. We've been there, and in every urban town we've reached, you've seen hundreds of young people that show up, that are desperate. They're strong, they're talented, they want to work, but these are young people that have been failed by a system. It should be noted that Uganda is ranked the most entrepreneurial country in Africa. However, the young people are being failed because 70% of the small businesses that are started do not live to complete one full year. They are failed because of high taxes. They are failed because of the cost of money, high interest rates. They are failed because of high electricity rates. They are failed because of high transportation, and this comes because of the broken down transport infrastructure. As a national unity platform in a new Uganda, we have a plan of establishing 10 million jobs. Here, we're going to do this by leveraging the tourism sector. As you know, Uganda is immensely gifted. We're going to leverage the manufacturing sector, and most importantly, the creative industry. Now, having come from the creative industry, I know the potential of the creative industry. Uganda is equally as talented as Nigeria, or even more talented. But looking at the Nigeria's creative industry, it is almost outcompeting the oil industry. In fact, they call it the new oil because it is largely seen as even more engaging and more incorporating of young people, of the ordinary citizen, than the oil sector. Now, our plan is as follows. First, we want to empower and support the small, medium enterprises and the cottage industries. Now, for the benefit of our voters out there, cottage industries are the small scale industries, mainly in homesteads that are majoring in production. These, we must understand, looking at the growing economies of the world, these have been the unsung heroes of these growing economies. China, India, Brazil, name it. So, looking at these examples, we think it can be a benefit in Uganda. I'm looking at areas, especially these that are near borders, like Arua, like Chisoro, like Kabale. If they are supported, they could boost even production, and they could even boost export by looking at production of textiles.
When you say supported, what does that mean?
Supported means cutting down, reducing the cost of doing business, reducing the power costs, reducing the cost of money, reducing the interest rates, investing in transport infrastructure. This would make it easier for them, and it would boost them. Also, it's important to mention that in this line, we want to boost production. In our manifesto, we presented our school feeding program, where the government is going to be feeding children at school. Now, the people that are going to be supplying these foodstuffs are going to be the ordinary citizens, and in a new Uganda, the government will work with the parent teachers associations, the PTA, to ensure that they identify not only the most vulnerable, but also the most trusted and competent suppliers, the eggs, the wheat, the rice, the flour, to feed the children. This way, we're going to be able to support even the small producers, the women, and the ordinary people out there. We believe that this is not only going to boost education, but it's going to help in youth unemployment. We also intend to modernize our skills development.
Your time is spent, but I'm going to allow you a minute. You have made recognition of manufacturing and tourism. These are high level in terms of strategic for any presidential candidate. Leaders have been describing it as Uganda's economic growth. However, there's one structural problem that still hinders both sectors right now, and that is unreliable power supply and high electricity costs. What's your solution?
Well, the high electricity costs can be renegotiated. As government, we can go as far as renegotiating with Bujagali to ensure that the power comes. Renegotiating with Bujagali to ensure that the power comes. Renegotiating with Bujagali to ensure that the power comes down, because that is what is going to help the production. As low as 3,500 shillings a day. Now, I was in Parliament.
Should be serious government. Should ensure that Ugandan citizens are employed. We're looking at skilling the youth, and you skill them in what you have. For example, we skill them in agriculture, we skill them.
At 2025, and we are running on NTV as well as